This is a Louie T Network exclusive.
Hey, either you're outside or you're
in the lab room.
Who else could it be? Me, your man, Louie T. Welcome. You are in the lab room, of course. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me on this In the Lab Room Louie T Network exclusive. I'm feeling listy today. And you know what happened when I get listy, man. I start listing stuff. And today, we're talking about the top 4 potential teams that can go from worst first in the National Football League in 2016. And so, of course, there are 8 teams in the league, and there's a lot of parity in the National Football League, which is part of the reason why we love this league so much. Your team could be in last place this year, be in first place next year. Just ask the Washington Redskins, who were in last place just a year ago this year. Now they're coming into the season as the reigning NFC East champions. That could be your team next year. And I want to talk about the 4 teams who have the best opportunity to flip the script and go from the cellar upstairs to the penthouse, man. They ordering food, got hors d'oeuvres. It's the life, man. Put your feet up on the pillow. Have at it. So let's talk about the 4 teams that can go from worst first. We start with the number 4 team on this list.
4.
And they reside in the AFC East. I'm talking about the Miami Dolphins. You take a look at this team and their situation, and it's more to do with what the Patriots have going on than anything else, because it's going to take a special effort from some team in that division to knock off the Patriots, who seem to run that division with an iron fist. And you look at the Patriots' early schedule, keep in mind, Brady right now, and he's still appealing, and he might take it to the Supreme Court, whatever the hell happens with Deflategate. Who cares at this point? Just get it over with. At the end of the day, if he doesn't play in the first 4 games of the season, look at what the Patriots have. At Arizona on I want to say that's a Sunday night, okay? They're not winning that football game without Tom Brady. Now, they have 3 consecutive home games through the Patriots. At home versus Miami. Hey, Dolphins, got to win that game if there's no Brady. At home versus the Texans, we know that defense can ratchet it up. And if they smell fresh meat like a Jimmy Garoppolo, don't think for one second the Texans can't waltz into Foxborough and steal one against a young, wet behind the ears, breath smelling like Similac quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo. And then home for Buffalo. Again, another team that's not afraid of the Patriots, and without Brady, that could easily turn into a loss. So just think about it. 3 home games, you only get 8 of those. 3 of them in the first 4 weeks, possibly without Brady, could all end up in losses. The Patriots could start off the season 0-4, 1-3. And again, if you're the Miami Dolphins, you got to take full advantage of that. You got them in that little stretch there where there could possibly be no Brady. You got to take advantage of that. And if they lose 2 home games within the division in the first 4 weeks, and they got to go to Buffalo and win later on in the season, week 17, which has always been murder for them, at Miami, which has been really tough for them, even in their seasons when they've been really good, like last year, it's been tough for them to win in Miami week 17. That could be a big win for you in week number 2 versus the Patriots. So I'm just saying, you got a new head coach, I understand. But look at what the new coaches did last year. 10 wins for new coach Todd Bowles with the Jets. Look at John Fox in Chicago, and I've been saying this all along. Arguably the worst roster in all of the National Football League was that Bears roster last year. He won 6 games last year. Jack Del Rio. Who's been winning in Oakland? Jack Del Rio did 7 wins last year. What about the 8 wins that both Rex Ryan and Dan Quinn had in their first years with new teams? So again, rookie head coaches, first year head coaches, doesn't matter if they've been a head coach or not. First year head coaches have been winning in this league, and they won last year. So why not Adam Gase? And finally, this is a talented football team, okay? I look at the Dolphins and I say, you've got skill guys. The one thing holding you back is Ryan Tannehill. If he doesn't develop this year, that's why you brought in Adam Gase. If Adam Gase can't get him to maximize his talents, You'll be looking for a new quarterback because this team is ready to go. You've got talent on both the offensive and defensive sides of the football. Now it's time for this all to come together and turn into something bigger than just waddling and muddling your way through the AFC East division. The Dolphins have a shot. Not saying that it's a great one, but it's a shot nonetheless. They're the 4th team on this list as a chance to go from worst to first. You go to the 3rd team on this list,
3,
and it's the Tennessee Titans. The AFC South is as wide open as any division in all of the National Football League. And so, why not the Titans? That's the question I ask. Why not the Tennessee Titans? Marcus Mariota, going into his 2nd year, much more comfortable. They've switched head coaches, and I think this head coach believes in Marcus Mariota more so than the last head coach did. And so I think you look at Mike Mularkey, I think he believes that Marcus Mariota is the guy. I'm not so sure Ken Wisenhunt was totally sold on Marcus Mariota. You don't have to worry about that anymore. Now you have a better offensive line. They made it a point of emphasis to go and improve the offensive line in front of Marcus Mariota. We saw the train wreck that was the Titans offensive line last year. But not only did they do that, they took it a step further and said, we're going to run the football with a power run game. So what did they do? They went out and got the bats that could get that done. They went out and got the horses up front and along that offensive line to do that. And so it's going to take pressure off of Marcus Mariota. That defense wasn't that bad last year, okay? That defense was not that bad. They added a piece here, added a piece there, and all of a sudden now this defense is going to be much improved, I believe, this year in a wide open division like the AFC South. And I know a lot of people feel like with Andrew Luck back, if he's healthy, they look to have done a job of protecting him with the offensive line move they've made this offseason. If he's back and he's healthy, it's the Colts division to lose. And that may be true, but why not the Tennessee Titans? I like Marcus Mariota. I like the moves that they've made. Let's see if they can put it together. That division is wide open. Say what you want about Andrew Luck and him coming back and being healthy. I hear you. I hear you talking, and I totally get it, and I understand. But that division is anybody's. Everybody's been talking about Jacksonville and why they should be the team to look out for in the AFC as a sleeper. Everybody's talking about the Texans, and now they got Brock Osweiler and Lamar Miller and what they're going to do offensively. Nobody's talking about the Titans, and for good reason. They were in last place last year, and their quarterback got savagely abused. But this is a dangerous team. Don't sleep on the Tennessee Titans in 2016. Let's go to the 2nd team on this list of the top 4 teams that could potentially go from worst to first in 2016. And it's none other than the San Diego Superchargers. You say to yourself, how in the hell are the San Diego Chargers going to come out of that division with all those teams? Everybody's talking about the Raiders. It's the Raiders season. Here comes the Raiders. AC, DC, they're going to light it up this year, man. You don't want any of the Raiders. They got Khalil Mack out there. They just went and got who I thought was one of the most explosive safeties in the draft, and Carl Joseph. You don't want none of that. They got Sean Smith now. They got an explosive offense. They got a defense to match. You don't want the Raiders, right? What about the Kansas City Chiefs? You don't want none of the Chiefs. No, they went and they pushed the New England Patriots all the way to the limit last year in the playoffs before being eliminated. And they were dealing with injuries. They're getting a healthy Jamal Charles back. They're going to have a healthy Jeremy Maclin back. You're hoping that their pass rush continues to be as dominant as it's been over the last couple of years. Alex Smith doesn't make a lot of mistakes. You're not going to beat them in this division. And of course, the Super Bowl defending champion Denver Broncos. Look, they don't have a quarterback, but they still got the best defense possibly, potentially, if they lock Von Miller up in the league. Either way, you look and you say they're not winning this division, right? Right? I say to myself, they got Phillip Rivers, man. And in case you didn't know, Philly Rivers, still one of the best in the league. Go ahead and check. I'm going to tell you right now, a healthy offensive line. They were banged up. They were ravaged by injuries last year. But a healthy Chargers team is a dangerous Chargers team. They lost 12 games last year. I'm aware of that. You don't got to tell me. I know. But look at those losses. 8 of the 12 losses by a touchdown or less. And there were some heartbreakers in there, okay? That Ravens game, heartbreaker. Packers game, heartbreaker. What about the Monday night game? 2 of them. Steelers and Bears, heartbreakers. There were a lot of close contests. Chiefs game at the end of the season the second time around. They lost by a touchdown on a breakup in the end zone by D Ford. Overtime loss to the Raiders the second time around. There were close losses scattered and littered with that Chargers schedule last year. This is a team that, if healthy, with some of the changes that they've made this year, could be a very scary team. And I just talked about the AFC South being wide open. The AFC West is anybody's ball game because the Broncos have a question mark at the most impactful position in all of the sport. The Oakland Raiders haven't been here before. They're used to everybody telling them that they don't have a chance. Now everybody's telling them they're supposed to have a chance. How do they handle that? And of course, the Kansas City Chiefs, they started out the season like 0-5 last year, okay? They had to win 10 straight just to make it to the playoffs. Just keep that in mind. This Chargers team, not as far away as everybody wants to make them seem, and they still got one of the best quarterbacks behind center, slinging that rock. Don't count out the San Diego Superchargers in 2016. And finally, the number one team with the best opportunity to go from worst first is none other than the NFC East players, known as America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, NFC East was a laughing stock last year. It was a joke, okay? A lot of little jokes. I hear your jokes, man. I hear your jokes out there. NFC least and all of that nonsense. Bottom line was, this division was up for grabs last year. It was up for grabs the year before that. It was up for grabs the year before that. And it's going to be up for grabs this year, okay? The Redskins won this division at 9-7 a season ago. Respectable 9-7 after this division looked like it could easily be won at 7-9 at one point. But make no mistake about it. The Redskins, they don't scare anybody yet, okay? They still have issues and question marks littered across their roster. And so no one's crowning the Redskins with anything, okay? And if you look at the Dallas Cowboys roster and the way it's constructed, and you say to yourself, last year, I'll give you an example. Last year, look at their losses, okay? This is a team that lost a bunch of ball games last year, a slew of them. But I challenge you to go look at how many of those games were losses that came within a touchdown or less. Just like the Chargers. I mean, just think about all the ball games. They were in every single ball game, okay? Every single one, with the exception of about 4, okay? There's the New England game, never had a chance in that game. The Carolina game on Thanksgiving, never had a chance in that game. And the second Washington game. So 3 games that they weren't in the entire 2015 season. Other than that, and you can look at some of the scores and say, hey, they lost to Green Bay by 20 points. If you watch that game, the score might have been 14-7 in the latter portion of the third, early fourth quarter. Green Bay didn't run away with that game until the fourth quarter. They were in every single game. They should have beat the Jets on a Thursday night, I want to say, or a Saturday. I think it was a Saturday night. They had the Jets on the ropes. Probably should have beat them. They had the Seahawks in a field goal fest. They were in a bunch of ball games against some quality opponents, and they just didn't have the quarterback. No Romo equals no chance, and that's going to be the same thing this year. And if he's healthy, with that offensive line and that running game and yada, 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 I could sit here and lecture you to death about all that. We've all heard the same story over and over again. Bottom line is, it's the truth. It's facts, okay? A healthy Tony Romo is a dangerous Tony Romo. A dangerous Tony Romo means it's a dangerous Dallas Cowboys football team. You look at the Eagles, they're not going to do anything this year, I don't think. I could be wrong. I just talked about why the Dolphins have a shot. Why don't the Eagles have a shot? They could easily get a first-year head coach in there, turn some things around and turn some heads. It's possible. Highly unlikely, however. The Giants, look, Eli Manning feels really confident that they're going to get it done this year, and he might be right. They got the same offensive head coach or offensive coordinator moving over to head coach. A lot of continuity there. A lot of the pieces that you need in place to be successful offensively. They get a stud back in the draft this year. I think that can help them right away in Paul Perkins. I'm just saying. But what I am saying is that this Dallas Cowboys team with a healthy Tony Romo is a dangerous football team, as we all can attest to. So, to recap this list quickly, the 4 teams that have the best opportunity to go from worst to first. Miami Dolphins chime in at number 4 on this list. Look, stranger things have happened.
4.
Brady might miss the first 4 games of the season. Got to take full advantage of that opportunity. Let's see if the Dolphins can't finally turn the corner, and if Ryan Tannehill can finally play up to his full potential, and that's the job of Adam Gase here. We can see what happens with that Dolphins football team. Coming in number 3, Tennessee Titans. In the AFC
Number
South, a division much
3.
like the NFC East, much like the AFC West, wide open. It's anybody's ball game. It's anybody's guess as to who's going to get it done. Why not the Tennessee Titans? I'm not saying. I'm just saying. You go to number 2, the San Diego Superchargers
2.
of the AFC West. It's a wide open division. Broncos don't have a quarterback. Raiders never been in this territory before. This is uncharted territory for the Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs. The City Chiefs can be up and down at times. Remember, they started the season 0-5 last year. And finally, the number 1 team with the best opportunity to go from worst to first is America's team, Jersey Boys, the Dallas Cowboys. That's going to do it for your man, Louie T. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we come all here in the lab room. Come back and join me as I got many more lists. I'm feeling listy, man. Come back and join me because I break down anything and everything. The National Football League. I will see you next time, and I will have another list for your ass. See you then. There's plenty more where that came from. While you're here, subscribe to the channel. If you want more Louie T, be sure to follow me on Twitter at In The Lab Room, or you can like the Facebook page at In The Lab Room. That's In The Lab Room on Facebook and at In The Lab Room on Twitter. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so.